Let's begin the session. A very good afternoon, all of you. My name is Alicia. I'm part of Alumni office. We are here today launching our new series about mentor-mentee program. We have with us is Advocate Sandeep R. Rathi, who's going to begin this session. And this session is going to be all about judiciary. Without a further ado, I would want Mr. Sandeep Rathi to take the podium and go ahead with it.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. First of all, it's an honor that my own alma mater is inviting me for a session for all the judicial aspirants. So I'm completely blessed. So students, my name is Sandeep Khatri, and a very good afternoon to all of you and to all the listeners of this session. So I want to start this session with a promise that whatever time you are going to give me in this session, at the end of session, you will get to know a lot of things about Indian Judicial Services examination. That what is this exam all about, how one can easily prepare for this examination, what is a prelims examination, what is the importance of mains examination, then what is interview, what is the role of Bayer Acts, what is the role of textbooks, and so on. We are going to discuss all these aspects one by one. So all I want from your end is just listen carefully, okay? And I'm going to give you opportunity as well to ask as many questions as you want to, okay? So the very first thing which I want to tell you about this exam is that this exam is Judicial Services Examination. Now, when I say Judicial Services Examination, what do I mean by this term? So the thing is, it is state or union territory basis. Now, let me give you some examples. If someone wants to be a judge in UP, then one need to prepare for UP Judicial Services Examination. If someone wants to be a judge in Kerala, then he or she need to prepare for Kerala Judicial Services Examination, and so on, which means it is basically state-wise or union territory-wise. Someone wants to be a judge in Delhi, so he needs to prepare for Delhi Judicial Services Examination. So in short, there is no one exam which you can give and you can post it in different states or different union territories. So the very first thing which you need to understand is that this is something which is state-based. Now, when I say this exam, in a very brief sense, if someone wants to be a judge, that needs to prepare for this examination. This examination can be divided into two parts. The very first, the higher judiciary, and the second part is your lower judiciary. Now, what is higher judiciary and what is lower judiciary, or you can say subordinate judiciary? So if someone is preparing just after the graduation, then usually students go for lower judiciary examination. And if someone wants to prepare after some kind of practice, which means the minimum eligibility criteria for higher judicial services is that your minimum age should be 35 years and you need experience of an advocate as well of 7 years. So after 35, one can appear for higher judicial services examination. Now, when I say these examination of different states and different union territories, how they usually select. So there are 3 stages of this examination. First one, prelims, in which you are going to get PT, famously known as PT, in which you get objective type questions. And once you clear that, then you appear for mains examination, which is completely subjective. Now, what is objective? What is subjective? In objective, in PT, you got a question, and then there are 4 options. You need to select one. That is your prelims objective test. And when it comes to mains, there are subjective questions. You got a question, and you need to write the answer of that question. And after that, there is interview. And now, once you are done with your interview, your marks in your mains examination, in addition to your interview, the marks of your interview, got your final selection. So this is basically the whole idea of the examination. First PT, clear the PT, then mains examination, then mains plus interview marks, final selection. Now, very first question, which usually students ask, how to start your preparation? How one can prepare for judicial services examination? Now, in that case, the very first thing is choose the state. You need to choose the state or union territory. Now coming to the second question, how one can choose the state as well. How one can choose the state or union territory. So there are two ways to this. The very first way, you choose the state. And the second way, the state chooses you. Now, what I mean by this statement is, when you choose the state, usually the very first preference of almost all the students is their home state. So suppose if someone belongs to Bihar, their first preference is obviously Bihar only. Or if someone is from Rajasthan, their first state is their home state, in short. And there is nothing wrong in that as well. You can always go for your home state. So this is when you are choosing the state. Then, now coming to the second, when state chooses you. There are examples when students have no idea about what state they want to prepare for. Now they are done with their graduation, they are preparing for judicial services examination, and one notification pop up of suppose Chhattisgarh Judiciary. Now you have never dreamt of like, okay, I'm going to give exam of Chhattisgarh Judiciary, but the notification is out. And now you are like, okay, let's go for Chhattisgarh Judiciary. And then you appear in that examination. And then you clear PT, mains, and interview. This is when we say that it is the state who chooses the aspirant. But as a matter of prudence, I always advise that it should be the student who should choose the state, not the otherwise. There are students who got that kind of an attitude as well, sir. We want to be a judge. Even in the case of Andaman and Nicobar, we don't mind that. Okay. But that is again your personal choice. This is completely personal choice. There are students who are not from Delhi, but still they choose Delhi because of its metropolitan area. You got all the facilities, right? So the very first thing is you need to choose the state. Now, why this question is important? Because if someone is preparing for, suppose, Madhya Pradesh Judicial Services, and the notification came out of Rajasthan Judicial Services. Now, the biggest mistake usually students do is they stop preparing for MP and then they run for Rajasthan. While preparing for Rajasthan, Delhi Judiciary notification came out. Now they have filled up the form of Delhi Judiciary as well. So see, 70% of the syllabus is same. 70% I can say. But that 30% is also huge. So if you are clear in your mind that, okay, I'm going to prepare for these 2 or maximum 3 states, then you have limited your syllabus, which is one way is going to help you only. Now you know, okay, I'm going to study only these subjects, not the other ones. So that is why I have started with this very first point, choose your state. Now coming to the second step. Okay, sir, we are done with our state. What is the second step? The second step is syllabus. Just Google it. Whatever state you have chosen, you can easily download the syllabus from the Google. Or if I can say, the most appropriate way should be the last notification. Go for the last notification of that state or union territory, and you will get the detailed syllabus. And once you've got the detailed syllabus, the third step is check previous year question papers. Trust me, that is going to change your life. The moment you are going to see all the questions that have came in the last year questions, previous paper, that will give you an idea that how much do you know? What is your level of understanding? And I know many students who have changed their state after watching the syllabus or the previous year question papers. Let me give you an example. If you are preparing for Delhi Judicial Services or Haryana Judicial Services, it is more of practical based. In short, most of the questions which you are going to see is direct, not application based. So let me give you an example. If I say, what is murder? What is the difference between murder and culpable homicide? This is a direct question from Indian Penal Code. But if I say A did this, B did this, and then C comes in, now you tell me what offense has been committed. So that's application based, which means if your strength is something that you can solve puzzles, if your conceptual clarity is up to the next level, you're the right candidate for Delhi Judicial Services or Haryana Judicial Services. Now coming to the second. If suppose someone wants to be a judge in UP or Bihar, but they don't have good knowledge of history, geography, science, current affairs, then there is no chance they can clear that exam. Why? Because when it comes to UP Judicial Services or Bihar Judicial Services, the weightage of the marks of GS is much higher in comparison to other states, which means that a student should be very good when it comes to modern history, when it comes to medieval history or ancient history as well. So there are students who, after analyzing the syllabus and after analyzing the previous year question papers, they change their state because they find it difficult. And again, there is nothing wrong in that. I consider that as a smart move. If I know I cannot study history, I cannot study science, I'll shift to the another state. Now, let me tell you, if your Hindi is not good, Rajasthan is never should be your first choice. In Rajasthan, in interview only, they ask questions like, okay, write this word in Hindi. And after finishing that, they ask them why you have used that bindi. What is the rule of that vyakaran you have applied? So that kind of level of Hindi they have demanded. So one needs to understand their own strength and weakness. See, when you are in a college, it is all about, okay, I'm going to, score the most maximum number of marks. But when you are in a competitive exam, when you are preparing for a competitive exam, it is altogether a different game. All you need to do is beat your competition. That's it. Now, how one can beat their competition? When you are playing on your strength. So you must know what are my strengths. So I hope you are clear with how important this is to choose your state, how important this is to go through with the syllabus in advance. Even if you have not studied IPC, CPC, CRPC, Constitution, doesn't matter. But at least go with the syllabus first. Go with the previous year question papers. And you will get a taste. You will get an idea how difficult it is, how easy it is. Now moving to forward. If you are done with state, if you are done with syllabus, if you are done with previous year question papers, what's the next step? So the next step is pick up a subject. Okay, so let's take an example of Contract Act, the very first subject which you have picked. Now let me tell you some ideas about the subjects as well. There are 6 subjects which are common. We call that major laws. 6 subjects which are going to be in 99.9% all the states. What are those? The number one, the Constitution of India, most important one for any law student. The second one, CPC, Code of Civil Procedure, CRPC, Code of Criminal Procedure, IPC, Indian Penal Code, Indian Evidence Act, and Indian Contract Act. These are the 6 subjects which are in all the states or union territories. Whatever state you are preparing for, you cannot just ignore these 6 subjects. Then there comes the minor laws. That again depends upon state to states. Okay. So let's take an example of Contract Act, the very first subject which you have picked. Okay, I'm going to start my preparation and this is my first subject. Now, how to approach that subject? And if you want to note it down, please note it down. How to study law when you are preparing for judicial services examination. The very first step, students, is the Bayer Act. Bayer Act is the most important document. That should be your, Bible, Gita, Quran, or whatever you can call it. Most important document, because that is the law. So the very first thing is Bayer Act. Now, with the Bayer Act, you need one standard textbook. Standard textbook. For example, when it comes to avatars, when it comes to Indian Contract Act, you can go with Avatar Singh. So you need one Bayer Act, one standard textbook of that subject. What after that? After that, you need to make your own handwritten notes. For example, if I'm reading Indian Contract Act and I'm going through with section number 2 is an interpretation clause or definition clause. So the very first thing which should come into your mind is, what is interpretation clause? What is definition clause? Now, I'm revealing a secret. How to study law. How to study law. There are only 2 things when it comes to law, students. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. There are only 2 things. The very first thing, what is law? And the second thing, why is law? If you can answer these two questions of all the sections mentioned in the Bayer Act, you are done with the law. You are done with the law. Let's take an example. If I'm studying contract, the very first question which should come into my mind is, what is contract? Okay. After that, I got to know section 2H defined the term contract. I know an agreement which is enforceable by law is contract. Now I just know the law. But the second question, which is not mentioned in the Bayer Act or in the textbooks, is why is contract? And that is the beauty of law. That is why I fall in love with the law. That there is always a reasoning behind these things. Why is contract? Let me give you an example. Right now, I'm wearing specs. I'm using watch. I have a shirt. I have a computer. Now, I need these things in my life. But have I made that? Answer is no. So, how did I get them? Because of the contract. You have not studied Indian Contract Act, but you are entering in contract on a daily basis. You do have a contract with Jindal Global Law School that they are going to give you the services of teaching, and you're going to give them the consideration, your fees. We cannot survive without contract. My job is teaching. My job is practicing law, but I need shirts. I need something to wear. So how will I get it? Because of the contract. So whenever you are studying law, make it a rule, a simple rule, that whatever I'm going to study, first I will get to know that this is the law I'm studying. I know the law. But why? And for that why, you need to develop your judicial mind, which will obviously take time. I always say this to my students, that you will not get educators for the rest of your life. There is going to be a time when you are going to be independent. So make sure that during this time period, when you are surrounded by the teachers, and let me tell you, you are in Jindal Global Law School, so be proud of that. You are surrounded by to the best of the faculties and the educator. So use them. And trust me, that is a beautiful process. You got a question, ask them. Even, let me tell you much better way. First solve the question and then ask that. And then confirm how far your answer was. This is how you study law. I hope this is helping you. Now, forwarding. What else? Okay, now I know what is contract. Now I know why is contract. After that, what should I do? Make your own handwritten notes. The law is something which gives you a new perspective of your life. Every time you are going to study, you will get something new. The Bayer Act is so deep that no one can get the, we usually say, even I say this, that my areas of specialization is constitutional law or criminal law or civil law or commercial law. But the law is so deep that one can spend his complete life on one act. And someday a student came and like, sir, what's the answer of this question? And you are like, I've never thought about that. I've never thought about that. So that is the beauty of the law. So you must enjoy studying law when you are studying to be a judge. So after handwritten notes, what you can do? Use illustrations, use examples, your own examples or example from the Bayer Act or examples from your textbook. But use examples, use case laws. And when I say case laws, landmark case laws or a recent case laws. There are only two kinds of case laws which are important for you. One is recent ones and one is landmark ones. When I say Indian Contract Act, Carlyle versus Carbolic. Let me give you a test. If you are done with Indian Contract Act and you have not studied the Carlyle versus Carbolic, Smock Ball Company, you have not studied the law. So case laws are important. Now, what are case laws? Case laws are basically what has been held in the court. When you are studying case law, there are 4 things which you need to focus on. First, the material facts of the case. The second one, what are the issues that has been raised? The third one, the decision of the court. And the last one, the reasoning. Court can't be arbitrary. Court also needs to give reasons for their decision, right? So these are the 4 things which you need to focus when you are studying a case law. So now I'm concluding, when you are studying reading Baer Act, what all you need to focus on. First, your Baer Act, then a standard textbook, make your own notes, use case laws, illustrations, and last one, maxims. Maxims. In case if any one of you don't know what is a maxim, you all must have gone through with items when you were studying English in your schools. When you were studying Hindi, you must have studied muhavre. So when you are studying law, there are going to be maxims. The only difference is when you are muhavres is in Hindi, items is in English, but the maxims are in Latin language. Okay, so you must use maxims as well. Now coming to the next step. Okay, this is how I should approach a particular subject. But how can I prepare for PT examination, mains examination, and interview? Because you should never forget that if I am studying Indian Contract Act, what is my purpose? You don't want to be a PhD in contract or any of those subjects. You don't want to be an educator. You want to be a judge. So how one can prepare? So let me give you some, reveal some secrets. The very first thing, if you are preparing for PT, make sure you are solving MCQs as much as you can. And when I say as much as you can, when you go into the market, I think there are hardly 4 to 5 books of MCQs available. 4 to 5 maximum. Okay. Buy one, solve all the questions of that subject. Then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. In all those 5 books, let me also tell you this, 60 to 70% questions are the same, but still solve them because those are the most important ones. See, reading law is one thing. Solving MCQ is altogether a different game. In PT, your mind should be, trained in such a way that the moment you see the question and all the 4 options, there should be elimination method. Like, okay, A can't be the answer of this question in any such way. Then B, no. C, no. Then the D is the answer. So that is why if you are studying law for 1 hour, make sure at least you are giving 2 hours in practicing MCQs. Because at the end of the day, no one is going to ask you how much time you have spent with the Baer Act. It is all about what is your score in the PT. And always do remember, when it comes to PT, it is always qualifying. Qualifying in the sense, suppose, let's take an example of Delhi Judicial Services. PT is of 200 marks. Usually the cutoff goes 130 or 135. Sometimes it goes 120 as well. Okay, but let's take a standard 130. So if someone is scoring 131 or if someone is scoring 190, they both are on the same stage of mains examination. But yes, if someone is scoring 180 or 190, the level of confidence is going to be the difference. So that is only qualifying nature. And let me also tell you this, that yes, there are students who knows the law. Okay, I know many bright students who are very good at law, but they are not good at solving MCQs. Why? Because they are not giving enough time in practicing MCQs. So this is about PT. Okay, there are only 2 keys to PT examination. One, spend time with the Baer Act, because the questions is going to be the Baer Act, from the Baer Act only. Okay, either the section number or the heading or the essential or the concept or the maxim or the case law or the illustration. So these are going to be the questions in the PT examination. Now coming to the mains, how one can prepare for mains examination. And one more thing, when I'm studying section 2H of Indian Contract Act, I will study in such a way that I'm preparing for PT, mains, and interview all together. Never commit such kind of a mistake. Okay, first I'll prepare for PT, then I'll study the same subject for mains, and then for the interview. No, that should not be the approach. Okay, you can say once the notification is out and your PT is in the next 2 months, then you can then you are going to focus only on the PT examination for obvious reasons, because your first priority is to clear the PT, right? Now coming to the mains examination, how one can prepare for mains examination. So that's a good news. When it comes to mains examination, you can pick any subject and you will find that there are not more than 40 questions of any subject when it comes to mains examination. Mains examination I consider is easy in comparison to PT examination, because for all subjects, all you need to prepare is, for one subject, there is maximum 40 questions. 40 questions, and you need to practice. Now, how you can practice? Answer writing. Now, how one can write the answer? First, write the introduction. What you need to write in the introduction? The section number, the meaning of the concept, then comes the main body of that answer. What do you write in the main body? In the main body, you write the essentials. Then you explain those essentials with the help of illustrations, with the help of maxims, with the help of case laws. And then you conclude. This is how you write the answer. So if you have practiced a lot of those 40 questions, then I don't think you will get any kind of difficulty while writing mains examinations answer. At the end, there is an interview. Now, what is interview? Interview is all about your personality test. Now, let me give you one recent example. I don't know you are aware of this or not, but recently, in the last notification of MP Judicial Services, some students got selected. They got selected. They are done with their training and they are judged right now. But 6 judges were expelled. They have cleared the examination, nothing wrong with that, but they could not do the job. This is, let me tell you, the very first time in the history of Indian judicial system, right? There were no corruption charges, nothing. They were clean, but they were just students. Now, what is the difference between student and a judge? It's the personality. Now, what kind of personality we are talking about? Not the six-pack abs or nothing like that. When I say personality, it means the judicial mind. See, when someone is a judge, even at the age of 23 years old, and an advocate is appearing who is somehow, 30 years of experience, how one can deal with that? Trust me, not everyone. So you have to tell yourself that I should know the law. I am the judge. He maybe have the experience of 30 years, but I do have the powers. I am going to the one who is going to run the courts. So you need that kind of an attitude. Now, how one can get that kind of an attitude? With the knowledge. And how do you get the knowledge? The bare acts. So it's a round circle. And once you get the knowledge, you will get the confidence. You will get the confidence. And trust me, if a law student is telling me, sir, I don't have the confidence, then you are not a law student. A law student should be a besharam. When asking questions in the class or in the sessions like this is your time to ask questions. And trust me, once you are a graduate, no one is going to treat you. Your senior is not going to solve your problems. Okay, now let me tell you what is a contract. Section 2H. This is agreement. This is enforceable by law. No one is going to help you. So make wise decisions. Okay? Again, I'm telling you, you are in Jindal Global Law School. So you are privileged already. Okay? So just make the best out of it. Okay? Now, I guess if you have any questions, any kind of questions in relation to judicial services examination or any particular subject as well. Okay? So you may ask. Yes, please. So these were the most basic things which our student must know before starting the preparation.
It was very, there's one question somebody had written in the chat box where she had a question that there is no syllabus for Punjab, Haryana High Court available online. Is that how it is?
Okay, see, when it comes to Punjab and Haryana High Court, they usually conducted two examinations. One is of Punjab Judicial Services, one is of Haryana Judicial Services. So what you need to do is search for last year Punjab Judicial Services examination notification, and you will get the syllabus. Okay. And same goes with the Haryana as well. Okay. Same goes with the Haryana as well. So, and one more thing I like to tell, if you are in a college, just one more thing I like to add. There is one secret as well. Let me reveal that as well. See, if you are in your first year or second year, try to learn one language as well. Whatever language you want to. Punjabi, Marathi, Bengali, Telugu, or whatever. Now, what is the benefit? The benefit is, then there are some states like Maharashtra. If you want to be a judge in Maharashtra, you must know Marathi. A language is something which, if you are interested and if you are going to put some time, then you can easily learn. Now, what is the benefit of that? See, the competition in those states where there is a language barrier is much less in comparison to other states. Like if you are going to go in for Punjab, the competition is less in comparison to Haryana. Why? Because in Haryana, there is English and Hindi. So the all North Belt goes for that exam. But all the Punjabis who knows Punjabi, they got that privilege. So make sure that if you are interested in some language, go for that. Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, there was one more question. There's this girl who has mentioned that, sir, I want to start now. Do you think it's little late considering everyone must have started early? And how many hours per day should I give?
See, like we say, there is no wrong time to start a good thing, right? So
surprisingly, she hasn't mentioned in which year she is. It's just an anonymous attendee. I would really appreciate if you mentioned the year you are part of.
See, even if you are in a final year, okay, I know many students who are done with their law, and after that they got to know that, okay, there is some exam called, judicial services and so on. They have cleared that. Then there are some students who are preparing for the first year only. So there are all kinds of students. But let me tell you the kind of vacancies that are going to come in the coming future. So if you are going to prepare yourself, and if you are going to give you at least 1 year or maximum, I say maximum 2 years. If you are going to give you that much of time in your preparation, then that is going to be worthy enough.
Just to add on here, Sandeep, I remember one of my friends, he was a doctor. And he finished his MBBS and then he was very inquisitive to do law. Then he did law to become a judicial officer. So there's no right time, there's no right age.
Exactly. And the same goes with, I know many friends who are done with engineering and after that they come into law and then they cleared judicial services examination. So just start with your preparation.
I think we justified our answer to Ridhima and one more anonymous attendee. Then there is another question. Is it better to attend coaching classes for judicial service exam rather than self-preparation? If yes, could you please recommend?
Okay. See, then self-study or coaching. This is again a very personal kind of a call. But I can give you some test. See, there are examples where students have prepared by themselves and they have cleared the exam. So it is not like that you need coaching only and then only you can clear that. The very first thing. Second thing, how one student can get to know about this, ki, okay, I need coaching or I can do the self-preparation. If you are that kind of a student who have studied for the whole semester, not like, only in the last week of that exam. If you are that kind of a student, I always suggest that you can prepare for with the self-study as well. Okay. If you are scoring good marks in your colleges, okay, then go for the self-study. But if you are kind of a student who has not given enough time during your college days, then you need coaching. Now, what coaching usually do? Coaching, see, law is not rocket science, students. Okay? It is not something which you cannot understand by yourself. The thing is, if someone is teaching you a topic, then it will take 5 to 10 minutes. But if you are doing self-study, then it may take 1 hour maybe. So that is the difference. You just save time by getting coaching. That's it.
So there is this one more question which say, good afternoon, sir. Could you please guide which year would be better to start judiciary? Similar question. They're
See,
more
you can always, let me tell you, there are students who are preparing for the very first day of their college. They are like very much clear that I don't want to join law firms. I don't want to practice law. That is my only aim. If you have that kind of a clarity that this is something which I want, this is my first priority, then just go, then start your preparation by today only. Okay. But if you have something in your mind, okay, I may join law firms, I may go abroad for my master's. If you do have different plans, then that's again completely your choice.
all right. Let me see. Any free resource to practice MCQ apart from the standard textbook?
Free resources, I think you may get some websites on Google as well. But again, if you are a serious judicial aspirant, I would say go for proper textbooks. Like I can tell you, there is a textbook from Singles, there is a textbook from Universal, there is a textbook from M.A. Rashid, LexisNexis. So these are the top 3 resources. But again, these are the paid books and they are not that costly. I think maximum $500 for one book. So if you're a serious judicial aspirant, go for these books only. Yes,
there is this another girl who has asked, I'm a third year student and have dyslexia. Would it be possible to get into judiciary?
For that, we need to cross-check the state you want to prepare for. Okay. Prima facie, I don't think that is going to be a problem. But again, I'm also not sure. If you can tell me the state, I can cross-check for that particular state if that is going to be an issue. So we need to cross-check that.
And then they're asking how many hours in a day is a good time for the preparation?
See, students, try to understand this. If Sandeep Khatri is studying law for 2 hours, okay, that should be sufficient for him. But if you are studying the same material in 8 hours, so for you, it is 8 hours, for me, it is 2 hours. So don't look for the hours. I always say, look for the topics. Like, okay, I have made my timetable. I need to do at least 3 to 4 topics on a daily basis. Now, if those 3 to 4 topics are taking 2 hours or 4 hours, whatever time it is, then I'm going to invest that. But I always say this statement to my students that, see, if you are preparing for judicial services, now there is only one key. If someone can sit in a library for minimum 6 hours for a daily basis and 6 hours of study, not attending classes, okay? If someone can do 6 hours of sitting, self-study, they are the most appropriate for judicial aspirants. Because again, let me tell you, law is not rocket science. It is not that difficult. So what is the problem? The problem is that you need to remember section numbers. You need to remember remember the case laws. You need to remember the maxims. So you need to give time. And once you have given the time, you got the clarity. And once you got the clarity, you are done with your preparation.
It's written, is it necessary to read newspaper as a habit to prepare for judiciary?
See, if you are preparing for UP, Bihar, or any kind of a state where GS has some important role, then it is mandatory. But even where like states like Chhattisgarh, where they don't ask any kind of questions other than law, even for those students, I do recommend that you should read newspaper. Now, let me tell you why. See, what is happening in the society, if you don't know, then what is the benefit of studying law? Okay. Now, let me give you one current example. Whatever happened in Manipur, okay, how a law student saw this? Violation of this law, that law, and so on. So again, if you don't know what is happening in my society, what is happening in India, then how can be you a good judge? So this is something you see, I always say, first try to understand what is the importance of reading newspaper. If you are asking this question, I can assume that you don't like reading newspapers. Okay. So ask yourself, what is the importance of reading newspaper? Trust me, the kind of things that is happening in our country is much more interesting in Bollywood movies or any kind of a web series. This is interesting. This is really, and this is something which is not fiction as well. This is happening. So whatever happening in politics, you must have some basic idea that, okay, this is happening and these are the reasons. And if you don't know that, you can never relate law with that. So start with apps, okay, like Times of India or NDTV or whatever. But you should know, okay, these are the major problems we are dealing with. These are the good news for our country. So if you are not aware with this, that is going to affect you in a larger way.
Sandeep, there is this question which says that could you please elaborate on importance of pursuing masters abroad if one is aiming for higher judicial services?
If one is aiming for higher judicial services, I think if your only target is higher judicial services, your first preference should be the 7 years of experience as an advocate. And what kind of experience I'm talking about here? Criminal cases, civil cases, family cases, and like that kind of an experience is much more important. But if you have something in your mind that is plan B, okay, what if I couldn't clear? Then you may go for that 1 year abroad. But if you are very much clear that either I'm going to in the practice or higher judiciary, then there is no such benefit of doing LLM degree abroad. But if you do have plans like, okay, what if I want to join a law firm? What if I want to settle abroad? Then you may choose for LLM abroad. But yes, the judges are not going to be impressed with your Oxford or Harvard degree. Let me tell you very clearly. I do have some personal experiences with that. Like a personal candidate was done with the Oxford, but he got still rejected. And I think because of that only, because in the interview, the kind of answers he shared with me, I was like, it is completely your mistake. You should never show off your degrees in front of the panel and the judges. They are not going to be impressed with that. So I hope I've answered your question.
There is this anonymous attendee who has a numerous question, which are a little personal also. I mean, to be answered on a personal front. I don't know why is that student has not mentioned the name, but this mentor program is all about that. Whoever has any questions beyond some valid question that I would be still taking, my email ID is achavla@jju.edu.in. You write into us. We would connect to Sandeep and we would take this mentoring program to the next level. I would just like to take 2 more questions where one student has asked that is BERAC allowed in judiciary exams?
There are some states like Haryana, when it comes to main examination, there are some states, they provide you the BERAC as well at the mains examination, not in the PT. Okay. So yes, there are some states.
Okay, and one more question was there that online coaching, what is your thoughts on that?
If a student is serious enough or sincere enough that they will not be affected by the environment in their house or at the place where from where they are taking the classes, then there is nothing wrong in online classes. Okay. See, let me tell you, students, when it comes to become a judicial aspirant, it should be voluntarily. It should not be like my parents are forcing me, or just because my friend is doing it, let me do this, or because just today I have attended this seminar, so I'm enlightened, or just subscribe for any random online coaching. No, it should be the very first question you should ask yourself, why do you want to become a judge? If you do have the answer, start preparing. If you don't have the answer, then you are still confused. And this is something very personal. I know many students who ask me, sir, you tell me, why should I prepare for judicial services? And I'm like, see, the courts are not waiting for you. There are enough applicants. Okay, the courts can still survive without you. So it is you who should be, took the final call that why me?
Right.
If that is if you got that answer, And trust me, this is one of the very basic question at the stage of interview as well. Like, tell me about yourself. And then they ask you, why do you want to become a judge? Done. So you should have one and not go for the standard answer. Okay, I want to change the society. No one wants to change the society, right? So, well, like, ask yourself. And once you got your answer, okay, I want to become a judge. Let me give you a test as well. Just go to the nearest court, wherever you are. Just go to the nearest court and just sit there and just observe what is happening, what the judge is doing, what the other officers are doing. Okay. If that gives you a kick, start preparing. If not, then go for the other options of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, Sandeep, it's the questions are endless, and we are a little short on time. However, the intent of introducing this mentor program was that you be the mentor for the students for and however whatever medium you would want to take up. So I've left my email ID for all the students who are here and who still have lots of questions to ask from Sandeep. You can reach out to us. We will get in touch with Sandeep. We'll understand what is the medium, how can he help you all, and we will take it further. But thanks a ton, Sandeep. It was a very informative session. We really thoroughly
You're
enjoyed, and how
welcome.
beautifully with your, never-ending smile had kept it live. I must appreciate you on that note. Thank you. Thanks a ton, Sandeep. We'll let you know of all the process further. How would we want to take it further?
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah,
And thank you for giving me this opportunity. This was one kind of an opportunity to give it back to my alma mater. So I'm super proud for that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a ton, Sandeep. Thank you, sir.
Goodbye.
Okay.